defense requested more time to gather evidence to help their case. But outside the Queens courthouse, the Lewis family and community activists say Lewis has been convicted before even having a trial.
The Legal Aid Society was representing Chanel, will be contesting everything that the police department has put into frame because we don't trust the police department.
Reverend Kevin McCall from the National Action Network says Lewis's family hasn't been given fair coverage in the media, but would not even allow the parents to speak. At times, Chanel's mother backing away from the cameras.
She's not talking at all.
She's not talking at all. And that's the route we're going to take because we've seen how things have been twisted by the media.
Meanwhile, two fundraising websites, GoFundMe and Fundly, have pulled pages set up to raise money for Lewis's defense.
The Fundly page, and that page is temporarily been shut down. It's under investigation for reasons that I don't know of.
Horrifying shock for the family of a father and grandfather. As the eulogy got underway, the grieving relatives say they saw on his coffin a body part from another grave. CBS 2's Dave Carlin reports on this grave accident.
I can hardly eat, hardly sleep. It's taking its toll on me.
Sandra Butler says she didn't think losing her 85-year-old father, Cleveland Butler, could be any more traumatizing than when it was on the day he died of a stroke. But then a week ago, as she and her family from Brooklyn went to bury him in this picturesque New Jersey cemetery, it got worse. Something invaded the burial, coming out of the dirt of his grave. As you see in this photo taken by a relative, it's a bare leg on another corpse.
I'm there to bury my father, and it's somebody's feet on top of his casket.
I saw what appeared to be a left leg.
They was like, oh snap, a foot.
Reverend Kevin McCall, who is representing the family, says the caretaker and groundsman at the Mount Holiness Cemetery offered them no explanation. He says even if it's routine for caskets to disintegrate, exactly why did this happen? And why did the family not get a formal apology? When we went to the cemetery office, no one was inside.
They motioned for the guy with the truck to hurry up and come over and dump the dirt in the ground.
We reached out to the New Jersey Cemetery Board, and a spokesman told us that the investigation into this matter is just beginning. The board can impose fines if it turns out laws were broken. The family members say they want answers not just for themselves, but for the loved ones of the unidentified corpse. One, they say, turned their somber family gathering into a ghoulish freak show. In Butler, New Jersey, Dave Carlin.
The woman says she's planning to sue the Lynbrook Police Department for not investigating her alibi.
And she spoke with News 12 tonight. Nightside's Talia Kaplan has details.
I was trying to explain to everybody while I was sitting in there, while I was sitting in jail, that I didn't do anything.
Andrea Allen of Lynbrook says she spent 30 days in jail for a crime she says she didn't commit.
You can't be in two places at one time.
According to public court records, Allen faced a judge in Nassau County on assault and menacing charges on December 16th. The same day, Allen says her neighbor, who lives in the same building, accused her of something else, vandalizing her car. Allen says the next day, she was arrested and charged with criminal mischief because her neighbor told authorities Allen was responsible for the vandalism.
I knew that at that time and that day I was in court, and that's what I told them. I said, I'm in court. You know, I didn't do this.
And nobody investigated your plans?
No, I was begging them.
Allen says she's on disability. Since she could not afford bail, she was stuck in jail and says she couldn't access her medication and was separated from her therapy dog.
I need my dog. I need him to live. And without him, I can't make it.
Allen showed us this document from Nassau County Court, which says all the charges related to Allen's arrest on December 17th were dismissed. This only after she says she spent the time in jail.
And I want justice.
Allen says she plans on filing a lawsuit against Lynbrook police and prosecutors. She contacted the National Action Network. We spoke with National Crisis Director Reverend Kevin McCall.
The police department dropped the ball for not investigating it. The district attorney's office dropped the ball for pursuing charges from failure from the police department not investigating.
A spokesman with the Nassau County District Attorney's Office says, quote, the law precludes us from commenting on sealed cases. Now, I reached out to Lynbrook Police, too, and was told no one was immediately available to answer my questions. We also put in a request to get a copy of the police report for the alleged vandalism incident. I was told we could get that.
Saying she's not a criminal, she's mentally ill. I want them to help her, put her someplace where she can get the help, the spiritual help, the mental help.
Police say Sharita Headley took an M101 bus for a ride Tuesday morning in Manhattan, taking the wheel after a confrontation with the driver who asked her to put out a cigarette. Her mother says the 33-year-old is schizophrenic and bipolar and has had at least 5 episodes that led to hospitalizations in the past 3 years. But she hasn't gotten proper care.
Every time she goes to the hospital, they keep her for 4 or 5 days, or it's been a week or whatever, and then they let her back out, and she just goes right through the process again.
She could have hit someone on the bus. She could have kept going. Police could have shot her because they didn't know her mental state.
Advocates say the city isn't doing enough to treat her.
All of this could have been prevented if she was in a facility to be able to get her mental and her psyche together by providing the resources that the city has neglected her.
Sharita once worked as an MTA driver but was fired last July for failing to show up to work. Her mother hopes her daughter is an example that all who need help should get more treatment.
Pray for her, pray for me, pray for the people other people who need help. Work with them, make things happen for them. They do matter. They do matter.
Sharita Headley is charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle. She's undergoing psychiatric review here at Metropolitan Hospital, after which police will decide how to move forward with her case.
With tears rolling down his face, Lonnie Hamilton says he's living a nightmare. His namesake died in prison and was even buried without the family knowing it.
I want to know why my son is dead. I want to know why you buried him without asking me. I want to know why we weren't allowed to properly send him off.
Where is your son's body? I don't know. 22-year-old Lonnie Hamilton was doing time at Marcy Correctional Facility outside of Syracuse. He was convicted in the Bronx of robbery. His family says they tried to reach him for several weeks and then decided to send him a letter looking for his prison's address on May 6th. They went on the state's correctional website. They were shocked to see he was listed as deceased. He died on March 18th.
I'm thinking this can't be right. It's got to be some type of typo, joke, whatever. So we start reaching out to the facility. Days later, they finally say that he's deceased.
And he was already buried in a cemetery near the prison. State Corrections tells New York One it made several unsuccessful attempts to reach the inmate's next of kin, his father. The father's phone number didn't work. Corrections says it also searched Hamilton's belongings for contacts, but couldn't find any. They also reached out to police in Georgia, where Hamilton was originally from. His father says he's easy to find because he's lived in the Bronx for many years, and that's where his son was arrested.
He's picked up my doorstep, knock on my door. Is your son here? Take it out of my home. So they knew where I lived.
They have nothing in writing at all to date that says their son is deceased. They have no autopsy report of how their son died. They don't know anything.
The family says they were unofficially told that their son committed suicide. They find that hard to believe. They want his body exhumed and their own autopsy done. They are also calling for an independent investigation. Dean Meminger, New York One.
Joined outside the school on West 144th Street in Harlem by the Reverend Kevin McCall of the National Action Network.
You send your child to school to get an education, not get abused.
They want the teacher to be fired and arrested. The NYPD confirms they are investigating the assault allegations that happened back in December, but Finazzi, who is active in the school PTA, says she wasn't notified until late January.
This is crazy. It makes no sense. Why they waited?
This is not being treated as a harmless prank. The NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force, they have launched their own investigation, all after an African-American delivery man says he never expected for one of his regular customers to hand him an old-fashioned noose. Tonight, we obtained photographs of the alleged noose. It is yellow rope and it's made of black tape. And Victor Shepard of Harlem said that noose was given to him by Jim Ottaminelli of the famous Ottaminelli & Sons Meat Market on Bleecker Street. Shepard says Ottaminelli handed him the noose, telling Shepard that if he got stressed at work, he could put it around his neck. And Ottaminelli would help him. Shepard is African American and Adamanelli is white. This evening we tried reaching Adamanelli at his shop on Bleecker Street and also tried reaching him by cell phone. We have not heard back just yet, but according to the New York Daily News, the butcher said, quote, "We were just fooling around." He also told the paper he didn't think the joke would be taken as a racial attack. Shepard didn't find it funny. His boss called the police, and now the National Action Network is involved.
He is very emotional. He's a very emotional guy. When I first met with him, he came to our office and he told me about what transpired, and it was very hard to hear him because he was crying the whole entire time. He has a child, he has a wife, and he just went through the emotions of he couldn't believe that someone would give him a noose as a gift. And he's been on the job for 8 months doing the same route. And little different racist innuendos were saying to him, but he ignored it. But this was icing on the cake of handing him a damn noose.
At the bedside of her scalded 11-year-old daughter, she told us Jamani Aisha Merritt is in for a long struggle with her excruciating burns. This heart-wrenching photo her mother gave us documents some of what doctors say will be the permanent scars on her face, back, shoulders, and neck. Only recently was she given a mirror.
She saw her face. She's okay with it. She's still traumatized.
Police say early Monday morning she was intentionally scalded by a 12-year-old friend. They say filled a cup of boiling water, then poured it on the girl as she slept inside an apartment in this building right across the street from where she lives. We went to the apartment door of Shernette Panton, identified as the mother of the girl police say threw the hot water on Jamani Aisha. No one answered the door. Some residents here on Findlay Avenue where it happened say they consider this a tragedy for two families after hearing that the 12-year-old alleged attacker also went to the hospital. The girl police say is responsible is at Bronx Lebanon Medical Center undergoing psychiatric evaluation.
Something has to be able to be done to be able to do what children do in the summertime is to have fun. But under no circumstances, children shouldn't bully anyone.
I just want justice for my daughter.
This mother says any adult who was in the home when
like 4 shots I heard. The sound of a deadly police confrontation startling neighbors at the Flatbush Gardens apartments Monday afternoon, where officers opened fire on an emotionally disturbed man who allegedly charged at them with a knife.
One of the police officers deployed a taser, which proved to be ineffective. A second police officer then fired at the individual, striking him.
32-year-old Dwayne June was shot in the chest after officials say 2 taser darts failed to stop him. Officials say it was June's mother who called 911, telling dispatch he wasn't violent and wasn't armed. As police release a picture of the carving knife they say he used, neighbors share their outrage over his killing.
He was a very cool guy. He was like a little mentally disturbed and stuff like that, but he wasn't a threat.
He never bothered nobody, see nothing to nobody. He always high, walking by, doing regular. Come on, man, they killing anything now. Now they just want to kill anybody.
Some asking why police use lethal force.
But what's the protocol? Was it followed? Why wasn't it followed?
Mayor de Blasio acknowledging those questions, while saying police have to judge the risks in each situation like this.
Things happen very quickly where officers are in immediate danger, or someone else might be a family member or a civilian might be in immediate danger. So we have to get all those facts.
June's 14-year-old neighbor shows a hole from the stray bullet that she says put her in danger.
I woke up to the sound of the gunshot, flying through the walls.
Her mother, thankful she wasn't hit.
It's really devastating to me knowing that what could have happened to her.
And raising questions about the use of force.
You could have shot him in the leg, in the arm.
Police keeping up a presence here, gathering evidence for this ongoing investigation. In East Flatbush, Lori Chung, New York 1.